Okay, let's start today's lesson by looking at this activator. I'd like you to think about the equation and what you think we would need to do first in order to solve it. If you're thinking about the GEMS process we talked about earlier in this unit, and that we need to get rid of or eliminate the parentheses, then you are correct. So if you take a look at your worksheet, your capture sheet, let's look at how we would actually do this. So again, if we have an equation that contains parentheses, just like in the GEMS order of operations, we must take care of the parentheses first. So if you can simplify what's inside, then simplify. If I check this parentheses, x minus 3, I can't simplify it because my terms are different. X and 3 cannot be grouped together. So I'm going to need to use the distributive property that we talked about a few days ago to eliminate the parentheses. So I'm going to rewrite this equation. 2x stays 2x. This side simplifies. 5 times 1x is 5x. And 5 times negative 3 is negative 15 or minus 15. So I rewrote this equation in this manner. They mean the same thing, just a different way of writing it. So now I'm going to start my solving. I asked you in the last lesson to consider eliminating the smaller variable first. But in this case, if I were to eliminate 2x, I would be left with nothing on this side of the equation. So a more efficient way to solve this would be to eliminate this 5x, leaving a number on this side. To eliminate a 5x, I'm going to subtract 5x, and I will subtract 5x on this side. Some students are using a line to show that they are doing a mathematical process here, and then they'll get their answer in the form of an equation. So 2 minus 5, or 2 plus negative 5, is negative 3x equals, and what's left over here is negative 15. Now I have a negative 3 times x. The inverse operation is division, so I'm going to divide by negative 3. And if I divide one side by negative 3, I have to divide the other side by negative 3. And I'm left with x equals positive 5. Let's look at a few more examples on your worksheet. So if we look at this first one, see that I have parentheses. I need to handle that first. So since m plus 4 cannot be simplified, I need to distribute the 6. 6 times m is 6m. 6 times a positive 4 is plus 24 equals, and I keep this side the same, and now I'm ready to begin solving. I have variables on both sides. Both sides have numbers also, so I'm able to eliminate the smaller one, which is 4m, by subtracting 4m. If it helps you to organize your thinking, you can draw a line here to show that we are doing some calculation here. 6m minus 4m is 2m. We have a plus 24 that we just bring down, and we got to remember our minus. This is what's left over after we eliminate this. So we have a negative 26. Now this is a two-step equation. M is attached to a times 2 and a plus 24. First step is to eliminate the plus 24 by subtracting 24. I need to do that on both sides. I'm left with 2m equals negative 26 minus 24, or negative 26 plus negative 24 gives me a negative 50. If I divide by 2 now to isolate m, I end up with m equals negative 25. Looking at the next problem, I have parentheses on both sides of my equation. So in my first step, I'm going to distribute the 5, but I will also distribute the 3. 5 times a is 5a. 5 times negative 4 is minus 20. 3 times a is 3a, and 3 times a positive 1.2 is a positive 3.6. Now I need to eliminate the smaller a's, so I'm going to subtract 3a from both sides. I'm left with 2a minus 20 equals 3 6/10, or 3.6. Now I have a two-step equation. I need to undo my minus 20 first by doing the inverse, add 20 to both sides, and I'm left with 2a equals 23.6. Divide both sides by 2. And if you forgot how to divide decimals, remember, 2 goes into 2 once. Subtract and we get 0. Bring down our next number. 2 goes into 3 one time. Multiply, subtract, and bring down. 2 goes into 16 8 times, and I know you can't see, but we're going to subtract 16, and we end up with 0. My decimal did not need to be moved, so it just floats straight up here. And my positive divided by positive is a positive 11 8/10. Okay, real quickly, we're going to run through 2 more, and then I'll have you start working on your own. So again, we're going to distribute. So this side is 8y minus 15 equals 12y plus 15. Again, we had to distribute. My smaller variable is this 8y, so I'm going to subtract 8y from this side, subtract 8y from this side. If I draw a line, I'm left with negative 15 equals 4y plus 15. Now I need to subtract 15 from this side, subtract 15 from this side. Negative 15 minus 15 is going to give me negative 30. I'm going to divide by 4. And 4 goes into 30. Let's see, it goes into 30 how many times? 7 times with 2/4 left over. So, and a negative divided by a positive is negative. I could also write this as negative 7.5 or negative 7.5. Okay, and finally our last one, which is a little bit different and quite interesting actually. We have parentheses on both sides. Now this one you might say, why do I have parentheses? There's no number out in front. There's actually a number that's there, it's just invisible. We don't write it because it's just the negative 1. Now a 1 does not change the values of the numbers inside, but a negative 1 will change the sign of everything inside. So negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1p, and a negative 1 times a positive 8 is negative 8. On this side, 2 times 1.5 is 3p, and 2 times negative 2 would be minus 4. Now it's time to start solving. I'm going to add 1p to this side, add 1p. If you don't want to draw these lines, you do not have to, but we ask that you show all your steps to keep it nice and organized. And then we're going to add 4 to both sides. We end up with 4p equals negative 4. Negative 8 plus 4 is a negative 4. Divide now to get our final answer. And we're left with p equals negative 1. So in this lesson, we talked about solving equations that have parentheses in them. You will need to distribute first and then follow the rules that we've been practicing all week. There are 4 problems on the back that we would like you to try. As you are trying them, think about what you feel comfortable with and what questions you still have.